Guys, every single year my family goes to Ocean Isle Beach for a week. And when I was 5 or 6 years old, the coolest thing happened. I was walking out onto the sand and I felt something underneath my feet and I found a treasure map. It was the coolest thing in the world. I had a metal detector, and so the next day me and my cousins took it outside with us and we followed the map all the way until we found the X. And under that X, we actually found a treasure chest. It had a skull and crossbones on it. It was filled with what we thought was gold, but it turned out to be just plastic gold. It had all kinds of prizes and little small toys in it, and we were so excited. Now I've gotten older and I know that my parents were the ones that put that treasure chest in the sand, but I'm telling you, that was the coolest experience my 6-year-old self ever had. Searching for hidden treasure. Oh, it was so fun. Finding and going down the entire map to actually find the hidden treasure chest. Man, that was the coolest thing in the world. I don't know if you've ever gone on a hunt for something. I don't know if you've ever searched desperately for something. Maybe some of you have lost your cell phone in your house and you tore up everything, tore up the seat cushions, tore under your bed, looked for everywhere, only to find that you were actually holding it in your hand all along. I've had that happen to me too. But my prayer is that you do know what it's like to search for something with passion. Tonight we're going to talk about why we should search for God's wisdom with as much passion as a treasure. We should see it as worth gold and silver. And so tonight we're going to talk about why wisdom is important, why it matters, and why we should look to God for wisdom. Guys, tonight we're going to be walking through the book of Proverbs, and I'm so excited to dive into the truths that God has in it for you and for me. See, the book of Proverbs was written by King Solomon, who was King David's son. And when Solomon became king, God actually came to Solomon and they had a conversation. And in the conversation, God said something incredible. He said to Solomon, "I will give you anything that you ask for." That's incredible. I can only imagine what I would want to say if God said, "I will give you anything in the world." Maybe you would ask for a Lamborghini. Maybe you would ask for A's on every single test that you take from now until the end of high school. I don't know what you would ask for, but King Solomon asks for something that I would never have imagined or thought. He asks for wisdom. King Solomon tells the Lord that he feels unworthy to lead God's people. And so instead of asking for riches, instead of asking for fame and for popularity, Solomon asked God for wisdom to be a wise and fair king to God's people. And God was so impressed, so amazed with King Solomon's request that he gave him wisdom. He tells Solomon that he will be the wisest man on earth, the wisest man to ever live. And on top of that, he tells Solomon that he will have a lot of wealth and a lot of fame and a lot of popularity because King Solomon did not ask for it. And that's an incredible reality, but we find that under King Solomon's day, when he reigned as king, there was peace in the land. There was very little war for King Solomon. Everybody thrived. There was not many people in poverty. In fact, this is a fun fact for you. Today we use like plastic forks, right, when we go to parties. But for the Israelites, they saw silver as common. It was only a big deal if you had gold because people saw silver as so popular, so dispersed throughout their nation that it was like a plastic fork to them. Can you imagine silver, like authentic silver, being seen as something that you could throw away? Because gold was so much in abundance that was what you craved for? That's incredible, but that was because of the wisdom of King Solomon. And so Solomon's writing in our passage today, he writes in chapter 2, and he's writing to his children. He says, "My sons, if you accept my word," and to his daughters too, "but if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, if you look for it as silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield for those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the ways of his faithful ones. And what King Solomon is writing in Proverbs chapter 2 is that wisdom is worth seeking. In fact, wisdom is more precious than gold or silver. It's better than any hidden treasure chest. It's better than the search that I found when I was a 6-year-old going for hidden treasure. In fact, he's saying search for it like that, with the passion that you maybe have searched for your cell phone when it was lost or anything else that you found valuable in your house. Search for wisdom. See it as worth it. Guys, this day and age is a time where we need wisdom. Things are scary. Things have changed. We have this thing called a new normal. And in this season, we should be seeking wisdom. Not wisdom just from YouTube videos from some random stranger who we don't even know. Not wisdom from whatever Google first pops up when we search it. What we find as Christians is that we should be seeking God for wisdom. Our Bibles tell us that true knowledge is found in the fear of the Lord. And that doesn't mean that we have to be afraid of God, but it does mean that we have to realize that He is the one in control of everything. That He has all power and all glory and all honor. And so when we look to God, we have this reverence before Him. But out of that reverence, God gives us His word. He tells us what wise things are. What's the wisest thing to do? And so that's why we should look to God. That's why we should read the book of Proverbs. There's 31 Proverbs, which means you can read one every single day. And I promise you, if you do so, your life would be filled with wisdom and wise choices, making the right steps, going down the right road. See, in times like this, where it feels like we don't know where we should turn, it's God's wisdom that guides our path. And so I want to invite you with me to join in our journey through Proverbs. We're going to talk about this wisdom that we should seek with everything. And I pray that each week you'll tune in on Sunday nights, that you'll worship with us, be a part of our programming while we're still online, and we'll talk about the wise things that God says and how they should direct your life and my life.